Everybody, this is Dr. William Clark here. Glad to be with you for another episode here. We're talking about all things fundraising and strategizing for nonprofits and municipalities. And today we're going to be talking about fundraising myths that are hurting your mission. What are those things that people continue to talk about that are just simply not true, that we need to break and that we need to really call out for what they are? So let's get pen and paper. Let's get to work here as we begin to work on this. Now, before we get started, want to encourage you to get your copy of my latest book, Built to Fund, The Fundable Nonprofit. This is a strategic workshop for raising money, building capacity, and sustaining impact. And I believe that this book was written specifically for you. And you can download your copy by clicking the link below this video or above, wherever you are watching this and streaming this video. And you can get your copy today, instant access. Also, if you want a case of books for your team, so you want paperbacks for your team, go ahead and select the option for the case, order the case, and we'll ship it right out to you, all inclusive, right? The price of shipping is included. So again, visit the link below, Built to Fund, our latest book. Now, let's talk about a few fundraising myths that are out there. I have 4 for you. And then we're going to reference an article here to help us kind of process through some of this. So here's our first myth. Fundraising is only for large organizations. Fundraising is only for large organizations. Now, I made a face here because that obviously that is a myth, hence the title of this episode. But I will say though that depending on where you are in the life cycle of raising money, what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to make happen, what you're trying to see happen in your organization, particularly if you're in a startup phase or you're in these early phases, trying to get momentum behind your organization, you in fact may believe this. And I am thinking about some scenarios, some conversations I have had where this has come up and where folks who are trying to launch what I think is a credible idea, credible concept, and they are not viewing fundraising, if you will, through the lens of the work that needs to be done, right? It is almost as if they will talk about everything else except fundraising. And there are folks that do not realize what they do is a part of the world of fundraising, because I think the immediate gut reaction when you think of fundraising is somebody who is contacting individuals and sending out letters or emails to get wealthy individuals to commit financially to their work. That is one perspective, but that is certainly not the entire perspective of fundraising. It is a much broader approach, right? So it does include some individual campaign work, but it also includes grant writing, also includes events, it also includes sponsorships, it also includes partnerships, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Also, might as well add this last one in here too. It also includes earned income when you're competing in the open market as an organization against other providers to sell a service or a product, right? So all of this is a part of the world of fundraising. But I want to tell you this too, right? We teach this in our classes and in our coaching sessions that there are 3 secrets to fundraising. You can call them 3 levels, whatever you want to call them. But the 3 secrets of fundraising includes strategy, performance, and relationships. And we've talked about this extensively on multiple episodes here. When you include those 3 things, strategy, performance, relationships, it really offers, I think, a broad view of what fundraising really is and how it really works, and how one should look at fundraising for their organization. And there are some things that you can do right now, today, to start raising money for your organization if you simply do not believe this first myth. Fundraising is only for large organizations. No, I contend, and obviously by the nature of how this myth is structured, I contend that you, even as a small mom and pop organization, a startup organization, you're at the concept or of idea framing stage, that in fact you can start fundraising today, immediately. Yeah. And let me give you one tactic on how to do that, particularly if you're in the early stages. If you're trying to get an idea off the ground, if you're trying to get some momentum, right, for your new idea, new program, I want to encourage you to start thinking about how you can start tithing to your idea. Now, you hear that term quite a bit as it relates to church. This is not a call to stop tithing to your church, because that is a separate thing. But the concept and the principle of tithing should apply to your startup nonprofit as well. You'll be surprised that your consistency in tithing will result in dollars being added up over time that will become somewhat significant. And if you start to multiply your tithing with the tithing of other people, i.e. your board, family members, friends, people who are attending listening parties, who are supporting your vision, you'll be surprised what will show up in your bank account. There you go. Myth number 2, fundraising is begging. That is a lie, right? And again, the framing of this myth also, I think, gets tied to what people may have experienced, reaching out to individuals, or what they may have heard, or things that they may have seen that may give this perspective or this lens. And the truth is, fundraising is not begging. In fact, one of the things I love to say is that fundraising is sales, right? Now, that also may get some people feeling a little cringe too, because if you're in the nonprofit world and you're looking to serve your community, you're looking to serve a group of people, all you care about is the work. That's all you care about. And that is totally understandable, that all you care about is the work. But what gets missed is that when you're asking for support, this is in part sales. This is what sales is: asking for the funding support from a funder, an individual, an organization, a partner, etc. How can we collect your support and put it in a portfolio with other organizations to support this good work that we're doing for this particular group in our community? It is a sales process. The sales process is simply communicating to other people what you have available that could help them along the way in exchange for their resources. Or in the nonprofit world, you're communicating the services you're offering to a population of people that could be supported by the funding or the financing of those who care about that population and the services that are offered to them, right? So it's a three-way relationship, typically. A third party who's the funder, the provider, and then the group or the customer base who's receiving the service. So we have to let the person know who has the funding, hey, we're providing this service to a community that we both agree needs it, that we both care about. We're providing services through a methodology or a mechanism that is best practice, and it could be a great opportunity for you by way of donating to us a way to serve without having to be the provider, without having to come in 9 to 5, without having to do this every day. Your finances is an investment towards executing on that vision. So it's not begging, it is selling. It is offering an opportunity for someone who cannot physically be there to volunteer or give of themselves in the capacity of a career or volunteer, but to give of their resources that could multiply their outcome on their own by way of investing with our organization in partnership with other funders to serve a large swath of people. It is not begging, y'all. It is simply letting people know what opportunity is available for them to engage and to support this all-important work that you're engaged in. Now, we talk extensively about your fundraising plan and your fundraising approach in my latest book, Built to Fund, The Fundable Nonprofit. But I encourage you to right now download this book as you're listening to this podcast. Click on the link below and download your copy today and begin to go through the workbook. Begin to do the work. Read the content. Read the questions. Look at what we're offering and recommending as thought exercises for you to develop your fundraising plan for your organization. And here's the kicker, right? Your fundraising plan is simply a way of communicating your approach to serving your customers, right? This goes back to myth 2. This is not begging. Your fundraising plan, your master grant application, and your marketing approach is simply communicating to funders and supporters and donors how you plan to serve the target community without going through this exercise of putting together a fundraising plan or your master grant application. You lose the opportunity to communicate that clear message. So if you need help with that, simply download our latest book, Built to Fund, The Fundable Nonprofit. It's a workbook and a book all in one, specifically created and designed for you. Click on the link below to get your copy. Now, we're talking about fundraising myths that are hurting your mission. Myth number 3. Only fundraising professionals can raise funds. This is a good one. Only fundraising professionals can raise funds. Now, fundraising professionals are awesome sauce. They are great. They're certified. They know best practices. They know concepts that are that may not be readily available to or not known by you or the people, right? But that is not true. That they're the only ones that can raise money. Here's where the book Built to Fund comes into play. This is where our teaching and our coaching comes into play. We teach the 3 secrets to fundraising. We just went over it around myth 1 here, right? When you look at all 3 of the secrets to raise money, strategy, performance, and relationships, those mechanisms I developed while in the field, serving nonprofits, working at nonprofits, leading nonprofits. And what I discovered as a non-certified fundraising professional was that these are the repeated steps my team and I had to take to raise significant money during my tenure as leader. And none of it included a fundraising professional. And in fact, the folks that I studied and learned under professionally, they weren't fundraising professionals either, right? This does not say you shouldn't work with a fundraising professional, because they're awesome. They're great. They know things. They can teach you things. They can break down things to you in a way that you might not know of today, right? But if you think that is the only way to raise money, you are leaving way too much money on the table. You are selling yourself short, and you're selling your organization and your customers short. There are practical things you could do right now to raise money. We gave you one already. Start tithing to your organization, right? I gave you the 3 secrets to raising funds: strategy, performance, relationships. We talk about these things in detail in previous recordings, but also in the book. This book, Built to Fund, that I keep talking about, we don't call out the 3 secrets, but they are embedded in the workbook. I'm telling you, download the book. You'll get what you need from it. All of those secrets are threaded throughout every page, every section of the workbook. It is designed to simplify the fundraising process specifically for you. So you don't have to feel pressured to work with a fundraising professional. And again, let me just say this too. Fundraising professionals are not just those who are certified, but us, like here at Eli Patrick, right? We help folks raise money specifically through written proposals called grants. That is what we specialize in. That's one of the services we provide, in addition to strategic planning, fundraising planning, and leadership development. We're considered fundraising professionals, right? So you may not have the resources to hire us. So do you not raise money because you can't afford us or the next organization that helps or specializes in fundraising? No. You can do it on your own. How do you do that? Well, continue to consume all of the content I've put out over the years through my various social channels. Download all of my books. You got Built to Fund, which is linked below. My book, Grant Writing 101. My book, Sustainable. Right? All of the resources, the articles I put out there that are available for access and download, get access to it. And put the pieces of the puzzle together. Maybe you need coaching. Contact us, elipatrick.com, and schedule your coaching call today. Book us to be a coach, and we'll show you the process and the mechanism and the methodology on how to do that for your organization. Why do you think we make the master grant application available on our app? And I think we're going to start going over that in future episodes, our app that we've built. Why do you think we've done that? We've done that because if you cannot afford a fundraising professional, there cannot be a standstill in your fundraising at all, right? There has to be ongoing movement, ongoing progress, momentum that you realize. So myth number 3, only fundraising professionals can raise money. That is a lie. Go ahead and get your copy of Built to Fund, my latest book, below. That will help dispel that myth specifically and walk you through some concepts and mechanisms here where you can start raising money. The myth number 4, we're talking about fundraising myths that are hurting your mission. We got to break these myths. Here's number 4. Well, let's do number 1 real quick. Myth number 1, fundraising is only for large organizations. Lie. Myth number 2, fundraising is begging. Lie. Myth number 3, only fundraising professionals can raise money. Lie. Let's talk about myth number 4. Events are the best way to raise money. That is a myth. Events are the best way to raise money. Now, they are a great way to raise money. We at Eli Patrick, we do not specialize in that at the moment. check back at some time in the future. We may, whether we bring that online inside of our organization or we partner with someone else. But it is not the only way, the best way to raise money. In fact, what most people do not think about is the cost that is incurred to host the event is quite significant up front, way before you have any promise to make any money on the back end. Now, if you front the money to pay for this event, the venue, the food, the entertainment, the decor, the MC, the DJ, or the band, let's just stop there. Those are significant expenses. You're hoping to raise money on the back end from ticket sales, sponsorships, auctions, right? Auction of items. And what's the fourth way? Where you have donors raising their hand during the event to say, I'm going to make a commitment to the organization. So you may have somebody who's facilitating that process as well, right? So having your ticket buyers say they're going to make a four-figure, if you will, sometimes five-figure commitment to your organization over a 12-month period. Listen, those things, events work. But it's not the best way to raise money, and I'm not against it. I just gave you the framework, right? It costs a lot of money to do, but then you gotta sell hard. I mean, you gotta sell on the back end to get your money back, and you gotta sell in multiple ways, right? So when we say it's not the best way to raise money, there are cheaper, more non-expensive ways to raise money that you can start today without adding any cost to your organization. We gave you one when we talked about this in Myth 1, that is tithing to your organization. Let me expand on that just a little bit, right? So if you tithe to your organization, you set a particular percentage amount or dollar amount you give to your nonprofit as it's starting out. Every time you get paid, every 2 weeks, every week, every month, whatever that cycle is, it starts to add up. Now, you have board members to your organization, right? Board members are not just providing oversight, but their job is also to help raise money for the organization. Well, you should encourage them to do the same thing, right? Everybody, board members should be tithing as well. So now you have yourself tithing as the founder. You have your 9 board members tithing as well on a consistent basis with a goal for every board member to hit. Now, let's just say you multiply, so it's 9 board members plus you, that's 10. Let's say you each invite 5 people to a listening party, right? All 10 people invite 5 people to a listening party. That 10 turns into 50 people who are now in an event, who will come and listen to you share the vision of your organization, who will hear you share the purpose of your organization. And this goes back to myth number 2. It's not begging, it's just you sharing an opportunity for them to give. So all 50 people, all right, will be asked to make a commitment to give X number of dollars every 2 weeks to your organization. Let's just say you're asking everybody to give $30 every 2 weeks. 50 people times 30. Let's just do the math. 50 people times 30 times 26, which is every 2 weeks. That's 39,000. Is that right? 50 people. Let me do it again. Times 30. All right. Yep. Times 26. That is $39,000 annually from the 50 people in the room where they make a commitment to give over a 12-month cycle. And the one thing you want to do that you ask these folks for is before you leave, we want your financial commitment, absolutely. But can you recommend 5 people within your circle who we can invite to the next listening party? 5 people who you believe will care about what we do. 5 people who are invested. 5 people who love, who has an affinity for the community that we're serving. So those 50 people invite 5 people. That 50 turns into 250. Again, 250 people giving $30 every 2 weeks. That $39,000 turns into $195,000. All starting from you tithing and giving a base amount, multiplying it to your board and you multiplying it to 5 people at the listening, 5 people each, which is 50 people at the listening party. 50 people turns into 100. What is it? 50 people times 5 turns into 250 people at the listening party, who then are given $30 every 2 weeks. Again, $195,000, and you keep multiplying and multiplying. These numbers add up. For a low ticket, low investment support level, that adds up. This means that you have the capacity to do amazing things. Events They're the best way to raise money, are they? Maybe. We just gave you the blueprint. So the listening party, let me just also break this down to you. No cost. You can host it in your home. You can host it at your local church. You can host it at the local library. No cost, free. You can ask somebody to bring some water, some drinks, some finger foods, all from BJ's and Sam's. I mean, okay, you got a cost there, a couple dollars. But in exchange for a $30 every 2-week commitment, oh, man. Yeah, the cost is much lower. So events are the best way to raise money? No, they're not. What I will say, having a portfolio that has a variety of revenue sources coming into the organization, that's the best way to raise money. All right. Let me read this article from fundsforngos.org, and they wrote an article, 15 fundraising myths that could hurt your anti-poverty campaign. But there's one myth I just want to highlight here. And this myth says you need a wealthy donor to be successful. And everybody kind of leans into that. Well, who do you know that has money? That's what everybody says. Who do you know that has money? And you got to imagine there's a bunch of people who are starting organizations and mature organizations that have been around for a while, who are asking the same questions. And some people know the same people who have money. And those people who have money are being pulled on in so many directions. So you got to imagine that if you add yourself to that list of people asking for money from a wealthy donor, the chances become low that you can secure their financial support. So the myth is you need a wealthy donor to be successful. No. What we just talked about in our previous segment here about raising money through listing parties is raising money from supporters who may not necessarily be wealthy, because we're talking about $30 every 2 weeks. That's $780 annually. That's not necessarily the dollar amount a wealthy person will give, right? Because their gifts are much larger than that, depending on the support that's being asked of them and their commitment and connection to the work. But the $780 annually, or the $30 every 2 weeks, is multiplied by multiple donors who are tightly connected. They started out with you, then they were connected to your board, and then they were connected to the original 50, and then the next 5 were connected to the previous 5. Listen, it's all about connections. It's all about relationships. That's what you really need. Relationships, connections. So as you're working on your fundraising approach, don't do it alone. Don't feel like you got to do it alone. There are a couple of resources that are available to you. Obviously, this broadcast, it's available to you. Take full advantage of it. Listen to it. Replay it as much as you need to. Share it with your colleagues, your friends, your family, and your board members. Secondly, download your copy of Built to Fund, my latest book, Built to Fund, The Fundable Nonprofit. It's a strategic workbook for raising money, building capacity, and sustaining impact. Go ahead and click the link below to download your copy of that book. It's available right now. Click the link, download your copy, get access to it. It's yours. We built it and we created it for you so that you can dispel these myths that we went over today. There's many, many more. But that you can start raising money today for your worthy cause. Built to Fund. Download your copy today. And I'm looking forward to getting your feedback on the book, things that you're learning, things that you are working through, things that you're discovering because of this book. I want you to give me some feedback here on my social channels at Dr. William P. Clark. Download your copy of Built to Fund today by clicking the link below. Folks, this has been fun. This has been great. I look forward to working with you all. I look forward to hearing from you all as you continue to raise money and develop your fundraising plans for your organization so you can do